Magyanatmirandasya Gyanandana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namashrishtam Manumapi Satriputram Matra Sarupam Rupam Tasyagrajamurupurim Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Maho Radhikamadhavasam Praptu yasya pratitha kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Nikhila shruti mole ratnamaladite Nirajita padapankajanta Ajimukta kulairupashyamanam Paritashtam harinam samshrayami Anarpita charim tirat karunayavatirna kaluho Samarpaitum svabhakti shriyam Hari purata sundara dyuti kadamba sandipitaha Sada hridaye khandare spurato vasachinandanaha Ajanulambita bujjo tanakavadato Sankirtanai kapitaro kamalaya taksho Vishwambaro dvijavaro jugadharma palo Vande jagat priyakaro karunavataro Ladini Shakti Sarupaya Gauranga Suridaya Cha Bhakta Shakti Pradhanaya Gadadhara Namostute He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Radhe Vrindavanadishe Karunamrita Bahini Kripaya Nijapadabjadasyan Mayam Pradiyatam Bhaktya Vihinaya Paradhalakshay Kritasya Kamaditaran Kamadhi Kripa Maitvam Saranam Prapanam Vrinde Namaste Charanaravindam Vrinde Namaste Charanaravindam Sri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai Sri Harinam Prabhu Ki Jai Gaudiya Vaishnav Guru Parampara Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premanand Hari So, welcome, Pranam to all of you, those present, 3D, 2D, welcome all. And today we are having, like we did 2 days ago, in this case, not so crowded online, but more with those in person here. What we like to call Q&A or quest and exploration. If you want to call it question and answer, no problem, but it's never definitive, the answer, because the journey is ever evolving. So we've been talking these days. So whatever we can say about the absolute, it's just touching one point of an infinite spiral. So in that sense, it's an exploration always. Krishna himself is exploring the depths of his own heart on a daily basis for eternity. So how much we should do so. So that's it. Yeah, you're invited to bring questions that you may have or topics that you may like to explore in detail, in more detail. Anything you may like to bring to the table today. It doesn't necessarily need to be related to what we have been talking in the morning. It can be free. You can go anywhere, wherever you want to go. I think it's also important to give that space. Like, okay, we can talk about anything. We can ask about anything. So Anything you would like to contribute, ask? Let's begin with Krishna Bhumi. Yeah.
So I want to relate to today's lecture, because for me it was very interesting that for me is, or it seems, I don't know if it is, but it seems that God and love is more understandable for me than my soul.
Mm-hmm.
For example, there were some questions coming up, that the soul is also ever evolving, ever expanding in that sense. And can the soul suffer or can she not, because she's transcendental?
Mm-hmm.
And is there a suffering, or is it only our mind that suffers? And what I also asked myself, because we talked about that when we limit ourselves, it's a parade against ourselves. And in my experience, for example, is when I decide by myself, I make a decision that I go over my boundaries, and that I face my fears, for example, that I can grow,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so these are my questions and my realizations. So maybe you have some answers to that.
And have some further exploration. Let's see if we get some answer. But yeah, thank you. So, okay. So you began saying that it's easier for you to understand God.
It seems.
It seems. Okay.
Maybe it's not, but it seems.
Yeah. I mean, all these are not easy to understand subjects, right? Again, they are, in one sense, they are not made to be understood. Yes. They are meant to be contemplated and marveled at. Or we can understand them by loving them. Ultimately, love is the key to understanding, because again, as we say the other day, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, second verse, is Raja Vidya. No? He speaks of bhakti, love, as the king of all knowledge. So to know something, to understand something, ultimately is through love, not just intellectual acrobatics, so to say. I mean, we have to use our intellect that we've been talking these days, but there are certain things that can be only understood by going beyond intellect, mind, all these faculties. So, of course, that's the idea. To apply ourselves to sadhana means we assume that we are practicing sadhana because we have some experience that makes us develop some faith in a reality that is beyond mind, sense, and intellect. So ideally, we are pursuing our sadhana with a trans-rational, trans-logic faith, right? And gradually, the fruit of that practice, being guided by that motivation, is understanding that which cannot be understood otherwise, something like this. And there are many verses in the scripture that say that. Not to discourage, again, engaging our intellect, but to discouraging over-engaging our intellect. Because we can push the intellect too far. We can rely too much upon what's going on from our neck up. And we can get stuck there. And we forget to attend the rest of the system, even the body. Connection with the body, connection with other faculties. So that's on one side. Of course, there were like different questions in between. Yeah. So yeah, love is ever evolving. God is ever evolving. According to the tradition, we are trying to explain that these days. And the soul has an ever evolving potential in connection to Krishna, in connection to love. We have an ever new, ever fresh potential that's mentioning throughout the scriptures. Now, in that connection, then you brought the topic of suffering, whether the soul suffers or is that in the mind. So depending on which suffering we are talking about. Because we spoke the other day, there is suffering in the spiritual world. And there, everyone has a spiritual body, which is not different from the Atma in one sense. As the Atma imbued with bhakti, and that reveals a particular identity. But again, that suffering is, as we said the other day, paradoxically filled with ananda. It's a paradoxical suffering. It's sweet. Srila Sridhar Maharaj will say, there is sweetness in suffering. It's possible. We even have a glimpse of that in this world. Sometimes this is the example given, I don't know, in the old Indian village setting, there may be some sadhu visiting, wandering sadhu, itinerant sadhu visiting a village. And all the village that, as we say the other day, now they will meet every evening around the fire and share their life. Oh, a sadhu is visiting us. Okay, let's ask the sadhu to, I don't know, speak Ramayana for a week. And Ramayana is you have to bring some tissues when you listen to the Ramayana. It's one tragedy after another, right? So sadhu will start to speak Ram Katha every evening, and everyone brings their tissues. Everyone is like crying 1 day, 2, 5, every day. No? Ram is sent to the forest, Sita is kidnapped, then Sita is exiled. So much drama, tragic. But when the whole narration ends and everyone is crying as much as they could, and the sadhu leaves, now everyone starts to cry because they cannot continue crying because he left. So it's not that the village is filled with masochist people. They like to cry. There's some sweetness in that crying. You follow my point? It's like, let's give a more immediate, contemporary example. Some of you are get together to watch a movie. And it's a movie who has some dramatic content. So there's some scene that is tragic or whatever, and so the 6 of you are watching the movie and I was doing something else. So I just happened to pass and I see all of you like totally into the movie and crying. I'm like, why you're crying? Please don't suffer. And I tried to stop the movie. And all of you is like, Maharaj, with all respect, but don't you dare to do that. I'm like, but you're crying miserably. You don't understand. Get out of the room. Allow us to cry. Something like that. So you follow my point? There is pain, but somehow you're okay with that. There is something in that, some substance, some depth. Your heart is opening somehow, and there's some blossoming. So now all that to say that there is a possibility of suffering in the spiritual world when you have a spiritual identity, but that's not the suffering that we are talking when we speak about being under illusion. When we speak about suffering as a, let's say, conditioned soul, that suffering is stored in the mind. That's experienced through the mind. By way of identification with the mind, we experience a suffering that, so to say, is avoidable. But again, going back to the genuine suffering, that's why we have to separate. Let's say you have here a pure devotee on earth, walking on earth. That person is absolutely self-realized. That person is fully spiritualized, is living life from his real self. And that person may not be suffering as a conditioned soul suffers, but maybe will be suffering compassionately. So there is suffering. But that will be an expression of the soul, because that's a suffering that is synonymous with love. Because compassion is a form of love. Follow my point? So it's separate suffering. There are different categories of suffering. We have to be always very careful not to say suffering and put all together in the same bag, because if we do so, then we will be like, and probably when we do that, we tend to think of suffering as the one that we don't want to experience. But if we put all suffering in the same bag, then we will be against all forms of suffering. And there are many forms of suffering that are even desirable in compassion. Again, the suffering, as we were saying the other day, right? Radha and Krishna are suffering a lot on a daily basis. I mean, when you start to love, when we love truly, then we understand the meaning of suffering. We think we suffer now. We are relatively numbed in conditioned existence. Sometimes we suffer on some level. But when you love fully, you are fully awakened, fully sensitive, fully empathic. When you suffer in that state, then you are suffering with capital letters. But not as something bad. That's the tricky thing. We have to be careful not to, oh, no, then I don't want that. I just want to be happy all day. But again, that's not the goal of life. The goal of life, as Viktor Frankl says, purpose and meaning. So you can be suffering and find purpose and meaning, and that creates a depth, and that creates something deep. Again, Radha and Krishna on a daily basis, when they are separated, they are suffering. They're not like, Jai, we are celebrated, let's organize it. We are separated, let's organize a party to celebrate it. They are dying at one point. They're crying, and they're not faking it. Again, as we were talking these days, it's not like, oh, there it is, just a drama. They're playing, they're making a show for the whole show to continue. At one point, okay, it's 4:34, I'm supposed to be suffering now. Okay. But actually, I'm beyond suffering. No, that's a type of suffering. And we are invited to assist them eternally in all their emotional landscape, including suffering, which will be a big part of the day. And for us to connect with their suffering, we have to empathize with that. And empathy only happens if you undergo the same experience of the other person. Right? For example, in our tradition, we hear about Radha Dasyam or the Manjaris, and their experience is, I hope you understand this term in English, vicarious. They're vicariously experiencing what Radha experiences. Everything, whether it's joy, Krishna union with Krishna, or death-like symptoms in separation. So they're suffering. But again, that's an ecstatic suffering, a suffering that expands the heart, expands the consciousness. So it's paradoxical. It's not the usual way we tend to think about suffering. So we have to be very careful when saying, I don't want to suffer, not doing away with all forms of suffering, because we may be losing an important part of that. And even, I will say, if we are, I don't know, we are at present in a conditioned state, and we are suffering, and we in theory know, okay, this is, my Atma is not, the Atma doesn't suffer in this way, it's just in my mind. But if you don't have the capacity to go beyond your mind, you cannot, I mean, my point is, be careful, we have to be careful not to use that narrative to do spiritual bypassing. You follow my point? Because we may be lamenting for something that is not worthy of lamenting, and we know in principle, but in practice we are there. So I kind of just push a button and like, shoo, I'm beyond that now. I mean, if I want to be beyond that, maybe the first thing I have to do is accept that I'm there. And gradually I can work my way through that. At first it's like, I'm there. If I'm resisting to accept that I'm there, and I wish I could be somewhere else, you won't be there by magic. You follow my point? So it's like, that's why the Bhagavatam says, acknowledge your eligibility, that's real virtue. No? Be honest about where you are, that's real beauty, Bhaktivinoda Thakur will say. Even if it's a very limited, imperfect, embarrassing place, it's beautiful, Bhaktivinoda Thakur say, because you are being honest about it. So you better be an honest mess than a perfect mask, so to say. Yeah. Maybe I don't know if I'm missing some things from the sharing or the question. I don't know. It helps a little bit.
A wonderful answer. It helps a lot. Thank you.
It's just an exploration. Thank you. Shmipriya was raising her hand when she was raising her hand. If I saw correctly, yeah. Okay.
I feel actually a little bit ashamed of asking this, but because I feel a little bit like judging maybe. But yesterday I was in the temple. I spent time with my Gurudev Samadhi, and I was like so attached to this format. I was crying and saying, "Oh, I miss him so much." And then in the night, I just opened a book with questions and answers, questions to and answers by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati.
Amrita Bani?
Yes.
Okay.
And he was saying, like, the question was how to see Gurudev everywhere. And, like, the answer is that you need to see Gurudev everywhere, in everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And I was asking myself this very basic question, but we always tend to put Guru, like, in a very fixed, framed position, how a Guru should be. And he's free of this and free of that, and he follows like this, and he masters this and that. How can I see my Guru or Gurudev in normal day life? Like when I go to work and I have people that share nothing with me, for example. And this is the judging part, because I'm just based on this framing where I put the image of Gurudev, right? How can I transcend this mentality of just, because Prabhupada himself was saying, you need to see Gurudev everywhere. He's everywhere. So how do I apply this on daily life without falling into this comparison of this person was here, these people are here, so I cannot compare it, you know what I mean? So that would be my question.
Okay. Could you, those who are connected, you could hear the question? Yes. Okay. So yeah, I will start by saying first we need to define what we are talking about when we say guru, right? Because many times we say guru, we tend to think about one person. And there's a place to speak about guru in that way, but there's a place to speak about guru in a, let's say, broader way, more universal way. We have the Samasti principle and the Vyasti principle. You may have heard about this. Samasti means the collective guru principle, like a macrocosmic guru, which Krishna is the original guru and he's everywhere. That's a way of saying Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is omnipresent. Krishna is the first member of the parampara. So Krishna is guru and he's everywhere. So seeing guru everywhere will be a way of seeing Krishna everywhere, which of course also then the question still is how to do that or how to gradually get there, because again, it's not just tell me how to do it and oh, I'm seeing Krishna everywhere. The Bhagavatam says that's the symptom of the Uttam Bhagavat, the highest devotee. So somehow some of these instructions are not so much like, okay, do this, and you're like, tell me how to do it, and I do it. No, it may take 3 lifetimes to fulfill the instruction. It's like a pointing to a goal, to an ideal realization, but that may take time. So it's important for us to know that when we read, hey, you have to see guru everywhere. To begin with, I wouldn't even say you have, no? So because sometimes the have has still sounds like you have, and if you don't do it, blah blah blah. But it's more, the spirit is more like guru is everywhere, so don't miss that, no? Because it's interesting. Guru is everywhere. So of course, and then the question is how to do it, and then explanation will show us that okay, this is not an easy thing. It's not a cheap vision. It's a process, the goal of life in one sense. So again, guru is everywhere in the sense that again, guru is Krishna is omnipresent. Krishna is guru. Krishna is Samasti Guru, the universal guru principle. Sometimes you can use Balaram as the Akhanda Guru Tattva, the source. There are different ways of saying the same thing. Nityananda Prabhu, Balaram, Krishna, Balaram is Krishna's immediate expansion. So do not get too lost in, we're talking about God in very simple terms. Is the source of the Guru Tattva, no? He's the agency, Samasti, and the individuals, Vyasti, are the agents of the agency. So to see the Guru everywhere doesn't mean that, I don't know, literally if someone was initiated by a particular guru, doesn't mean that every person has to, my guru, my Vyasti guru or Diksha guru has to like show his face and talk to me through every atom and circumstance. That could be a little too much also, right? Like, well, so again, that's why we need to understand guru in broader ways, not to discard the individual expression, but not to over localize, because that's also a problem. That's why the whole, I don't know, at least personally, I don't like the question, who is your guru? Because to begin with, it starts, first of all, it's invasive, right? It's like if I ask you, I don't know, what's the number of your bank account, or what's the password of your email password, or I'm crossing the street without knowing you, and how many kids do you have? And it's like, who are you? Right? Like, it's who's your guru? That's confidential. That will come naturally as and if the relationship develops. No? Sanatana Goswami says, Gopayet Guru Atmana. Hide your guru, he says. He says, hide four things. Gopayet is Devatamishtam, Gopayet Guru Atmana, Gopayet Chanyamantram, Gopayet Niyamalikam. Hide your Istadev, hide your guru, hide your mantra, hide your Malika. Malika is the back. Like hide means not literally hide your guru. Guru comes and visits and you kidnap him and put him in a closet. I'm following Sanatana Goswami's instruction, Gurudev, and he's like, let me out here. But keep all the things confidential. There are intimate things. Do not make like a public show of this is my guru and this is my Istadev and I have this feeling for. These are not things to be announced cheaply, but to be shared confidentially, intimately. So sometimes when we say who is your guru, first it's invasive, and second it has an assumption that already limits the question because it's generally presented in singular. So it demands one name as an answer. And generally the assumption also includes your Diksha Guru. But what if I have Diksha Guru, but my Siksha Guru is more prominent? But again, the question only allows to give one answer. So that's in itself limiting. Follow my point? Mm-hmm. But Chaitanya Charitamrita, for example, how does Chaitanya Charitamrita start? The two first words, Bande Gurun. I offer pranam to my gurus, plural. If you don't get those first two words, probably you won't get much of Chaitanya Charitamrita, one says. Because then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is revering Rupa, Raghunath, who are not his Diksha gurus. And anyhow, so many things. So, but sometimes we don't live in this pluralistic world of guru. No? But for many people in India, that's natural. Like for them, it's like, yeah, my first guru was my mom. And there are many verses in the scripture. Mom is your first guru. Mom, father, then someone talked to you. Or Sanskrit or music, or that's a guru. Different types of gurus, of course. But there's a mentality to gradually you see gurus everywhere. You are training your mind to acknowledge the guru principle expressing in different ways. So eventually, and again, this is not something we can do it immediately, but to see the guru everywhere, having this broader idea means everything is teaching me something always. In one sense, guru means a principle of teaching, a principle of instructing, a principle of illuminating us. So it's, of course, generally we need the particular individual to instruct us and helps us to develop a mindset where then we can see guru everywhere. An ideal guru figure won't tell, you can only learn from me. Maybe in the beginning will be more like, just listen to me, because if you listen to too many, you get confused. But gradually, everything has something to teach you. So when the disciple or student is properly trained, if you will, they will have that capacity of, oh, I'm finding guru here and instruction here, and it doesn't mean that you are rejecting your Diksha guru by doing that. On the contrary, you will feel more grateful for, oh, that particular person helped me to now discover the extended Guru principle everywhere. No? And the Bhagavatam gives that beautiful example, of course, with these 24 gurus, right? As I said the other day, those are 24, not one, not two, not even the 24 are like, okay, Harinan Guru, Diksha Guru, Sannyas Guru, Bharma Pradarshaka Guru. No. The earth, water, sun. You didn't receive Diksha from the moon, nor sannyas from the bumblebee, but those are gurus in that list. And as I say, from the 24, only 3 are human, right? And those 3 humans are a baby, a girl, and a prostitute. So it's not the usual parampara. But the point of the Bhagavatam is once you are properly trained, if you will, and again, this is not like a military thing, but you are properly open as a student and guided and inspired and nourished, everything will be teaching you a lesson. Again, we may not be there yet, maybe, but for example, in a stage like Nishta, that starts to become more apparent. That's the 3rd verse of Shikshastakam. Each verse of Shikshastakam represents one of the 9 stages from Bhakti, from Shraddha to Prem. 3rd verse is Nishta. And in that 3rd verse, what happens? Mahaprabhu is looking at the grass. Wow, Guru, teaching me humility. He's looking at the tree, like any of the trees you can look now from the window. Oh, Jai Gurudev. There's place to say that. Someone genuinely feels and sees that, you can look at the tree and say, Jai Gurudev. Again, from someone with less vision, it's like, what are you talking about? Jai Gurudev is that particular person in that picture. Again, we have to begin somewhere. Okay, we can begin with that one individual. It's beautiful, great, but eventually, like Srila Siddhar Maharaj will say, we have to enter into a land of gurus. Literally, where even the land is our guru. No? Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Vaikuntira Prithiviyadi Shakala Chinmay. From Vaikuntha upwards, even the soil is made of transcendental substance. So even the soil has a story to tell you, a teaching to give you. Even the speck of dust is your guru there. So Lassana will say that. It's funny how he says it. He said, in the spiritual world, everything is made of a substance higher than your own self, and everything is venerable for you. Everything is guru. So you won't be walking on your feet. You will be just walking on your head, because everything is. So you will be walking with your feet up and with your head down, offering pranam to everything, because everything is guru. No? So he's saying that our goal is to enter a land of gurus. No, you cannot access the ultimate realm thing. There's only one guru, and it happens to be my guru. So gradually we have to expand our vision. It may not happen from one day to the other when we see guru everywhere. That's a high goal again. But at least to see guru in more than one place, in more than one person, from one guru, gradually we see 2 gurus, and from those two more shoots, 2 more offshoots. Now we see 4, now we see 8. And gradually, wow, nature is teaching me. As today I was talking with Jaganidhi Prabhu, and he was mentioning about when his kids were young, they will sit with legs to the river. Okay, now let's sit and let's listen to the river for half an hour. And it's funny because they say, well, actually, I could have spent more time with the river, only half an hour every time of the session. So much the river is telling me. But again, sometimes we will only receive those lessons if you spend enough time there. I cannot just be running by the river. What's the lesson? No, you have to slow down and pay attention, which is what Nishta is all about. Nishta means you develop a capacity to pay special attention. Because in Nishta, you are not so agitated as in previous stages. There's more stability. That's what Nishta means. So that stability allows you to be more present. And when you are really more present, you can listen more what's actually happening, what's everything wants to teach you, right? So again, it's not a cheap goal to see Guru everywhere. It's a beautiful invitation, but we shouldn't, how to say, rush and try to get there before we can actually get there. Because in trying to do that in a rushing mood, we may be bypassing many things that we shouldn't. So at least we should gradually expand our capacity and pray sincerely. As you were saying, giving the example, actually, okay, I'm going to my job or somewhere, and okay, it's difficult to find Guru there. Right? But at the same time, you were saying, for example, and I can see in myself a tendency of maybe judgmental tendency of even like, oh, this, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, but, and it can happen for all of us. Like, oh, these guys have nothing to teach me. No, this is all superficial. These are all in Maya, whatever. And all that makes you become aware of your own judgmental list. So they are teaching you that lesson. And that's Guru, basically. I mean, once you're already becoming in your own question, I was seeing, oh, she's making a question, but in their own question, the answer is coming. But sometimes we don't see that. So I'm just like assisting in whatever you're already saying. I'm just pointing to what you're already saying. So sometimes, yeah, if we are honest and sincere, we realize, oh, I'm judging these people. No, I may have even some superiority complex or whatever. I'm not talking for you now, but,
but it's true.
Anyhow, so if we are honest, we will acknowledge that. It may feel bad. We may feel bad about ourselves, but also it's a lesson. Again, it's not that they consciously want to teach me that lesson. It's not that your friend at work is, today I will teach Lakshmi Priya about how judgmental she is. She has no clue what's going on inside of you, but the situation itself arranges in some way that you can learn from that. If you are honest, because if you are not honest, you will just really see these are bad people, these are Maya, they have, and that's the ultimate truth. But if one is more honest, say, no, there's a further truth than that, which is I'm judgmental. And when you realize that, one becomes more humble and more open and probably more sensitive to perceive Guru even more than the previous moment, and so on and so forth and so on. So yeah, and many times that happens in very ordinary situations. Because sometimes we over idealize, okay, for me to see Guru, I have to go and visit the temple, I have to be in front of the altar, I have to be in India or whatever, right? I have to be in the class, in a kirtan, only then I can have the epiphanies, the revelations. And I'm not saying that won't happen there, of course it can, but also it can happen in the middle of a very judgmental situation at work, right? And it's good to learn to find Guru there also. That's my point. Not just in the obvious, so to say. But sometimes we know, okay, there is this very inspiring sadhu, and I know when I'm going to hear from him or her, I will feel the presence of Guru guiding me there. That's beautiful. That's great. We shall all look for that. But we should be very careful not to limit, or only Guru manifests when that sadhu visits or when I go to the church or the temple. What about when I'm at job, where I'm at my moments where I feel terrible about myself? There's something that I have to learn there in my difficult moments of pain and suffering. Suffering is a great teacher. Don't forget that one. And we should stay, again, as we were given the example of staying enough time to listen to the lesson. Suffering comes, knocks the door, you open, you have to host the visitor and stay enough time with that till you receive the lesson. As difficult as that may be, right? So that's Guru as well. I mean, like Parikshit Maharaj in the Bhagavatam, right? He said, okay, Krishna came to me in the form of the curse of the Brahmin. Again, Krishna is Guru. in which form he's coming? In the most unexpected form you can imagine. Right? Okay, you will die in 7 days. Oh, Krishna is coming. If all that's an example, of course, it's a very deep example, but showing how much we can find guru in the moments that we may feel more, oh, this is the worst, this shouldn't be happening. Why Krishna? Why Krishna? And Parisi Maharaj says, hey Krishna. He's receiving Krishna through that situation, and we may be calling Krishna like if he's somewhere else to counteract that situation through which he's trying to come to us. So, again, it's a gradual process of training our eye, our ears to listen, to be more present, to stay enough with any given situation till it teaches us the lesson it has to provide. Every situation, every life circumstance, even those, especially those that we feel this has nothing to teach me. Again, this ordinary, there's nothing overtly spiritual here. Wait. Stay enough time, listen, pay close attention. Something comes. Even if it's, oh, I'm judging. That was the lesson, great. That's enough lesson for the day. When we perceive our own judgmentalism, and hopefully we all do, because probably we all have some of that. Hopefully when we perceive that, we can take that homework back home, so to say. Like, okay, do something about it. And next time a deeper lesson will come, and a deeper lesson. So that's what comes in regards to seeing Guru everywhere. Because if not, it can become a little bit, I've seen sometimes about to get a little neurotic, like in terms of, okay, I have to see Guru everywhere, and like forcing themselves. And of course, it's not happening. And they feel terrible about themselves. I must be doing something so wrong because I'm not seeing Guru everywhere. Relax. You are not the Nutan Bhagavat yet. You started practicing a few years ago, a few months ago. Calm down. Not be lazy, but also don't be neurotic. Right? To see Guru everywhere is basically to see Krishna everywhere. And again, to see Krishna everywhere is the symptom of the most advanced personality. You cannot suddenly be the most advanced person. It happens gradually. That's why Mahaprabhu in Nishta, which is kind of in between stage in the journey, he started to give those symptoms. Oh, the tree, the blade of grass is teaching me. So, but for that, again, certain level of agitation has to be in place. More presence has to be there. And all that takes discipline also. We have to make a conscious effort to be present, as simple as that sounds. Every day we I don't know, we chant japa or we pray, is a conscious effort to show up and sit and be there with the present moment, and Krishna coming to me in a very particular way in that moment and trying to be there for him. It's like it's like a date. You know, like, okay, we meet that day, that time at this place, see you there. But then the person comes and you're like, it's like, that's not that's a dysfunctional relationship. You have to be there for the person. If I say, oh, Jagannath needs to talk at 7 and he comes, I don't come, or I come, but I'm not there. It's like, what's this? So we have to train ourselves in presence. And it's difficult sometimes just to sit and be present and be open and be vulnerable and pay attention. But that's tapasya. That's a necessary discipline. I mean, disciple comes from the word discipline. Again, I'm not talking about any extreme militaristic self-torture in the name of discipline, but some effort. And some effort that comes from a place of gratitude and lots of beautiful things that I received so many gifts. I want to make an effort to return the embrace, right? Anyhow, hope that helps.
It helps a lot.
How to see the Guru at job? Maybe we have to begin there. Everywhere, we will talk about that later. Find your Guru at work.
The new book.
With your boss, especially.
No, I mean, I love the answer, and this is true. And I think I am feeling neurotical because the problem that I'm having is that on one side, like since my guru left, this was for me like the biggest experience in my life somehow. And so many things change so quickly. And on one hand, I need to learn like what we were saying before, like what you were explaining, that guru is everywhere, and we need to learn like to see guru in every situation daily, and not just to limit guru just to his physical form. At the other hand, like Krishna manifested himself firstly through this person with whom I had a very close relationship to. And so close that so much suffering came through that. And now that he's gone, I see this, like you were saying, this suffering, there is so much love in this suffering.
Mm-hmm.
It's so deep, and actually, it's bittersweet, on one hand, it's very bitter. On the other hand, now that he's gone, it's like very deep and nice. But at the same time, like now that he's gone and I think about him and I feel sad, like everybody's telling me, yeah, but Gurudev is not gone. Gurudev is everywhere. But at the same time, when I hear this and I have to train myself into understanding this, I have the feeling that I put the person that embodied my Gurudev completely on a side, like I cannot feel sad because he left, because it's just a body, like, and gurus everywhere. Like on one hand, I need to kind of understand that guru is everywhere. On the other hand, I had a very close relationship to this one person. And even though I have my Shiksha gurus and Krishna manifests in all possible ways, now I have the feeling that I need to just say, okay, this was just like temporary, and this person is now gone, and I have to see him everywhere, and there is no place just to express, okay, he's missing, right? And this is the problem that I have. Like, how should I experience one thing when actually Krishna manifested to me in a very intimate, nice way? And now I have to like, yeah, he's gone, and that's it, So this is like my issue right now, that I don't know really how to deal with. And this is why I feel a little bit like schizophrenic, because I learned from my guru, I learned everything: how to cook, how to clean, how to do all Vaishnava things, how to offer, how to do everything, basically. He was like father. So much father that we even fight with each other, like teenager, daughter, and father. And now it's like, yeah, guru is everywhere, and that's it. That's, I just cannot identify guru with the form of Sri Muni Maharaj, for example. And this is like the thing that is creating this psychosis in my head, like I don't know how to deal with that. That's the thing.
Yeah, we've talked about that a few times. I remember with Lakshmi Priya, and I'm not saying that like again you are bringing that topic. You haven't learned the lesson. No, these are complex issues. I mean, there's something that someone who is very loved by us, probably the most beloved persons in our lives, and you've said the word many times, he's gone, and I get the point. But also, as you know, and I don't want to sound too abstract, but even if we say he's gone, the question is, well, where he's gone? Because he's gone means it's not that he disappeared absolutely. He's beyond my vision, beyond my perception. It's fine, and we can, how to say, grieve over that loss. In one sense, loss. Again, there's place for that, just in case. It's not like, come on, be transcendental. Gurus everywhere. Don't cry. Don't feel anything. You have to continue feeling him somewhere else.
Yeah, this is what I feel now.
It's not so easy. I mean, idea in principle, yeah. Principle of gurus everywhere, and your specific Gurudev can be accessed in other dimensions of consciousness, but all that may be a concept at one point.
This is the point.
Right? So and one may need to first cry the loss for as long as one needs. And it's fine. That's a way of expressing your love for that person. So it's totally legal, so to say, right? And that may take time, because again, you have lost loss in one sense, again, not to make loss absolute, but in one level, a certain type of dynamics are no longer there. And you cannot force yourself to be like hyper transcendental and access wherever your guru is and relate to him immediately in that. I mean, it's not like automatic. Press this button and tune. So where you are now and what do you need? And maybe you need to, and I'm not telling you what to do, I'm just sharing ideas, but sometimes we need to spend enough time with that loss, with that feeling, with that pain, which happens in the context of love. Again, it's not something bad. As you say, it's bittersweet. And it's okay. It's a way of showing your love. And by doing that properly, I will say that will take you to the next level of relationship with that particular person. When one will be able to discover that person in another form, if you will, in another way of presence. And still there may be some sense of separation from, and that's part of the new relationship with that person till the reunion happens, if we want to use that word. No, those will be the dynamics in the spiritual world also. Union, separation. So it's not something bad. I think it's good for us that we do not label that as bad, right? This shouldn't be happening. Why it's happening? Nor label bad what you are feeling either, right? Though maybe some devotees may try to tell you what to do and how to feel, but at the end of the day, it's very private. It's very personal. It's like, I don't know, if some of you lose your wife or your kids, I cannot come and tell you, you should feel like this. And you're like, you don't have a clue what's going on. So one has to contact, okay, what I'm feeling. And sometimes, again, it takes time. It's complex. It's not like, we shouldn't look for easy solutions. Again, Srila Maharaj said once, when the guru passes, speaking of guru as Vyasti Guru, a particular individual who was our guide, that's in one sense the greatest test and the greatest tragedy in one sense. Again, not to make it all negative, but it's intense, it's heavy. So he will say, yeah, we should cry and lament over that as much as we need, and it will take time. We cannot rush into healing, into just, okay, let's move forward, that's fine. No, in my own way, not to make comparison, but in my own way, I've been connected, as you all know, with certain guru figures in the past, and somehow I've lost them in a different way. No, they are still physically alive, but there was a loss of the relationship. So, and in one sense, that still is with me. Of course, my life continues, but it's not that, okay, that's already solved and everything is absolutely healed and in place. No, there are still so many layers. And it's okay. That's my point. We should normalize. Okay, Sulaiman will say, you lost the person you love the most. It makes sense that you will be feeling so many things for so much time. It's okay. That's part of the relationship. And I know it's complex and one would like to have it more nice and clean and in place. And okay, now I'm finding Gurudev in this way. But that will happen, but we need to go through. No, it's not just moving forward, but going through. That's the actual moving forward, is by going through all the things, right? So it's the most obvious and natural reaction to feel all the things when Guru leaves. At the same time, yeah, so many things that you can keep in your heart about that person, remember, and not think of that person as a past person, right? And this invites us to develop a whole new way of thinking, because generally we think, okay, someone died, gone, disappeared, and we know that this is not the case with anyone, but to speak with Guru. So it forces us to, and it may take time, but to think in a different way. Okay, where is Gurudev? Who is? Is gone, not gone? How is spread? And to pray and to, again, it's a mysterious process that in each person will will take its own form. There is no like 10 steps to find your guru after his physical disappearance in a weekend. No, that life doesn't work like that. Right? For each one, the process will be very personal, very unique, will take the time it needs to take, and it's okay. Sorry, I'm not giving any conclusive, definitive answer because there is not such a thing, especially something like that. But as long as one can have, some support, no? Sangha of even a few people that are there for us and empathize with our journey, we are safe, and we should trust that the mercy of Guru is always with us, as I trust you feel. So it's not that the shelter is gone, the mercy is gone, the connection is gone, but of course the relationship took another shape, so I have to rediscover the relationship. And even that happens when the person is physically present, right? When you have a relationship with someone, you have to rediscover each other. It's not like it's always the same from day one till the end. It's a constant rediscovering. So this is another chapter of that in a different way. More challenging maybe, but still is part of the same, rediscovering one another. So it's gradually learning the language of how all that happens in physical separation, so to say, and how separation brings its own form of union. So we will call union in separation. Yes, it's very, very mysterious in one sense. We cannot again put a formula, put it in a box. It's something very. How it happens in every case is also very unique. But again, let's trust that Krishna appeared as that particular person, expressing through that particular person, because we don't want to make the Guru Krishna in every sense of the term. So we have to, but Krishna became manifest in my life through that person uniquely. Now that person is unmanifest from my vision, still that same Krishna who came through that person, he will make the arrangements to continue coming to my life and to even through that same person in new ways. So we have to have that foundational trust and hope. Okay, that same Krishna who made this arrangement, he not only he will make some other arrangement, but he's already. No? Sure. And even if it feels confusing and new, what's going on, but that's also the arrangement. That's part of that I'm trying to figure out. Okay, this new way, how it's coming. So it's all part of the journey. Thank you. Something else for those who are, we're giving priority to those in 3D, but if not, we have a few here in 2D connected. Sweta Devradika, Bhakti Rasa, Ganopriya, Katie, Manjwali. Can we put some light? Because especially for the camera here, they are basically, they will start to see suddenly a very, I mean, they will see who is, that makes it, but it will be too much for you there. Let's see. I mean, don't put that here. Yeah, we can try that. Yeah, I think still I have more light here than when I put the camera to you, so that's good that you have the light. Patrak is standing up. Maybe he has a question. He remains standing up.
I don't know if it's appropriate, but
I mean, just not necessarily a question. It can be anything you would like to share.
Just to follow up on your situation.
Come closer so they hear your question.
Okay.
Before this, with the chair. You won't be coughing this time. We'll invoke some particular.
What came to my mind was that even as far as I know, there's lots of examples where very high advanced pure devotees, when their guru, when their bodily manifestation wasn't there anymore either. I mean, they were so much in pain and grieving and hurting that they even thought about, they didn't see a point of living anymore, basically. So I think if people at that level have those intense feelings
Mhm.
and allow it to happen and go through that process, I think on our level, we should have the same right, I would say so.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. I
So
think this is the most difficult thing, that I'm not even allowed to say, my brother died, because everybody says like, he's not dead. Yeah, but I feel like he died. I saw him in the coffin. I saw him like this. He's dead for me, like this form is dead. Yeah, so somehow like not being able even to express it.
Yeah.
This is like the worst thing, because it's like, you're not so advanced to understand that Guru is everywhere. Yeah,
Okay, I'm not that advanced. That's
yeah,
fine.
that's
Okay.
the point. Yeah.
I am definitely scared of the day when that will happen to me.
Yeah.
I have no idea how I will react and feel about it. It's really, like Maharaj said, it's the real true test then how far you really are or not, or who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I will add to that, because sometimes we can have this idea, okay, the real test comes, for example, when Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he passed, many of his disciples went to Srila Siddhar Maharaj, because Prabhupada himself told them, for Siksha, go to Srila Siddhar Maharaj. And he came to know about Srila Prabhupada's passing, and among certain things he said, okay, now we'll see who is a real disciple of him. But my point is, doesn't mean that what he said means, okay, those who see the Guru everywhere are his only real disciples. No? Because we can take it from that way. Oh, I'm not finding, that means I'm not a real disciple. And you, again, bring all the whips, start whipping parade again. No, one way of proving that you're a real disciple is like Patrak is saying, you cry your life out. That shows how much love you have for that person. That's my point. No, you're a real disciple. You're really feeling for that person. And there should be a space for that. In every ancient tradition, even in some other tradition, not maybe necessarily speaking about Guru, but when there was some loss even in the family. And again, in one sense, Guru is family. And there is a period of mourning. Mourning with you, like grieving. I mean, the person who has gone a certain loss, that person will be taken to a special place, separate from the community, not separate, isolated, but like protected, no? To mourn and to grieve in a particular, because that person needs that sacred space for some time. It's like common sense. Like it's normal. I mean, normal, no longer normal, unfortunately, nowadays. Society is like, okay, let's move forward. Everything's so fast. But we need to hold that space. And with all, I'm not trying here to sound like I'm trying to contradict those devotees who may tell you, stop. But again, each one has to go through that situation in the way that each one needs the best way. We shouldn't be like forced by the environment, like, okay, I cannot lament because everyone will think of me that I'm not so advanced. I mean, that's in itself, it's how to say, in my opinion, like a toxic type of social pressure. So one has to be able to, and of course, if for some people it's like, no, it's too much, don't come with me with that lamentation. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't express that. Maybe that person cannot receive you in that state, and we are not to judge the other person. Maybe it's too overwhelming for them. Anyhow, that's their journey. But if one feels, I need to, even as you say, vocalize it, I'm feeling like this, one needs to find at least one person with whom one can pour your heart out and say, I'm feeling like that. Even in theory, I know he's not dead. We know all the teachings. Even that body, we could say, is in Gaur Lila in another form, whatever, no. But still, where I am, I'm feeling this, and that shouldn't be how to say, shamed upon. Because basically you are saying, you are acknowledging what I say before, we are acknowledging where you are. And Bhagavatam say that's real virtue. So that should be praised, actually, not condemned, right? Oh, this person is honest about their level of realization. They're not trying to fake, I'm more advanced, or they're not trying to be less from where they are. They're trying to sincerely, hey guys, I'm here, I'm feeling this. I know it's not the ultimate realization, but I'm here. So that should be encouraged. Like all of us should be doing that, actually. So sometimes for some people that's, and again, I'm not thinking about anyone in particular, but many times when one is honest about something, another are like, no. They don't want that because that forces them to be honest themselves. For some reason, they are not able to contact their emotions or allow themselves to, who knows for which reason. Sometimes it's a whole chain effect, snowball, toxic repression effect, coming whether from their own family and childhood, or sometimes things that are standardized in a community. You are not supposed to feel, to express, to suffer, be transcendental. And it's like, whoops, that's spiritual bypassing.
That's what I wanted to say, that I feel like there is no place for that. Oh, he's gone. Okay. Next level, next chapter. So,
No, it takes time. As Patrak was given very nicely the example of our acharyas. Because we will say, no, that shows that you are not so advanced. So that means that our acharyas were not so advanced?
yeah.
No? That they are even writing in songs, I'm dying in separate. They are making it very public, right? I mean, you write a song that, for so many years, millions of people will sing. Everyone will know how much you were suffering and crying. And they were, yeah, of course, it's fine. This should be, I mean, those songs are giving permission to ourselves to, you have permission to voice your emotions.
That's proof how much you love them.
Exactly.
And I guess this pain will never go away. But you will find a way to handle it better. Because when I talk to people, when my Gurudev left, I talked to people who also lost their Gurudevs. Everyone was different in their situations. They handled it different. One cried maybe for 2 months. The other one, he was angry about him. The other one said, I can't listen to his lectures now. I can't listen to his kirtan. Everyone has his own way. Someone's pain was so strong that he even rejected it. He said, oh, everything is fine. And I see it also in my God brothers and God sisters. Everyone handles it different. But the beauty of this God family is also that you see, for me it's very helpful that when I see one God sibling, it's a part, it's an expression of my Guru. And this is also so wonderful. Everyone is this expression of him.
Yeah.
And that's a way of starting to find Guru everywhere.
Yeah.
No? It's like they say, again, not to make a full parallel, but when they say with Krishna, like when the gopis are with Krishna in union, they see one Krishna. When they are in separation of Krishna, they see thousands of Krishnas because everything reminds them of him. So somehow that ideally should happen. But again, to normalize some of these processes, many of them are related. That's a whole conversation, but with grieving. And again, we don't do very well with grieving in modern society. Not only Gaudiya Vaishnava community, human society at large. We were talking about that when we were coming here some days ago, especially in this area of Europe with such an intergenerational trauma with all that happened a century ago. So much, no? So grieving. Sometimes we need the duty of one particular generation. I remember talking about that with Madhava. Some generation may just need to grieve all the ungrieved stuff from previous generation. That may be the main dharma of a whole generation.
Wow.
to release the ungrieved part from our ancestors and the inheritance the ungrieved inheritance that we've received. And we are carrying all that stuff with us even when we become officially a devotee. It's not like I got initiated, I have tilak. I'm beyond all my unresolved ancestry. I'm not so sure. And again, with this thing of grief, there are all these different stages that different people portray in different ways. But for example, they say denial when there is grief, and first there is denial. Again, no. That's not for. Sometimes there comes anger. So we're also mentioning why, but behind anger, many times there is suffering also. So again, denial, anger, sometimes it's bargaining, they will say, no, depression, and then finally they say acceptance. It's interesting. That's how they put it, no? So denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. The acceptance comes at the end, but to reach to that point of accepting the loss, first you need to go through all these other defense mechanisms and evasiveness. So, I mean, not by force, but just we should normalize that people go through all that stuff, and we should be smart enough to understand what's going on. Because sometimes someone will come from a denial place. No, nothing's going on. Stop thinking about that. Move forward. And we should be smart enough. Oh, that's the denial stage of grieving. That's not that you are transcendental, actually. Some other is anger. No, and again, we should allow the things to happen. It's not like you shouldn't be angry. Anger is an anartha. Krishna says this. No. There is a place for proper anger. There's a toxic expression of anger and healthy one, and this with every emotion. So
through this pain, I guess we can unfold our potential because of love for Guru.
Yeah, of course.
This is
again, it's an expression of love. I wouldn't label it as pain only. No, it's grieving, it's pain. I mean, we are not denying that, but the bigger picture is all that is happening in the context of love. Even those who are in denial and in anger, I'm sure they love that person, but maybe they don't know how to deal with all that, because of course it's overwhelming. No? The most beloved person disappeared. So it's, again, we don't have like a training. Okay, when the Guru passed away, you do, like, again, if you're a mother, you can read books, but at the point you are a mother, you are there in the arena and you have to, okay, what? So we are not going to be entirely prepared before the situation happens. So each one will react differently, and many times those situations trigger in us unresolved stuff that is unrelated to the Guru. You follow my point?
Yeah.
So that's why we will see different reactions in the same situation. And one will go to denial, and maybe that's triggered by that, but that was present there before that. But certainly scenario triggers. So that's a good moment for us to see, okay, what's triggering me, and what do I need to learn from this? And that's Guru again. Like you are triggering in the work with the people. What gets triggered in us when Guru passes away, it's Guru coming to shed light on that. We can work on that, and the more we work on that, we rediscover Guru on yet another level, and so on. Yeah. But again, as you say, I think the most important thing is that we can have these conversations about that to begin with. That there's a place that you can speak, you can voice that, express that. I think that's the foundation. It still may take time, but at least I can talk about that. I'm not ostracized, criticized, judged. I put whatever. Okay, we can talk about that. Give ourselves permission to feel, to be. Anyhow, Bhaktirasa is raising her hand here. Shall we allow her to? Yeah, okay. They are giving blessings, Bhaktirasa here. So it's your turn now. I will turn on the computer to the other side. So there's Bhaktirasa. We don't hear you, Bhaktirasa.
Okay, I guess because I didn't say anything. I just have a few words to share about the grieving part. You know, we exist in relationship, So it's not just one person who leaves when the guru leaves or someone else. It's not just that the guru dies. It's our own self also, the part of our self that was being drawn out into that relationship that we also need to grieve and look again for in the world. And I think another way, as the devotee beautifully said, that our spiritual family, the reflections of the guru, but then also to look for ourself, that potential self that we were feeling that was coming out, that was the inspiration that the guru held us as, that stood before us as our potential. We have to experience the grief of losing that draw, and to look for it in other places. And when we find that resonance, our self being drawn out, we can see the guru there as well. That is guru speaking to us, pulling us, drawing us along the way, and begin to see guru everywhere.
Thank you, Bhakti-rasa. Guru Tattva ki jai, Guru Parampara ki jai. So, something else that needs to be shared before we put the session to rest? If there is anything else that anyone would like to share, comment, the question, or anything, you're still free. You're always free to do so. Okay. So it seems we will put the session to rest now, and ourselves to rest after the session here, at least over here. Thank you so much to all for coming and bringing your heart sincerely. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai, Gaudiya Vaishnava Guru Parampara ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanand, Vancha Kalpataru Vasta, Ditasindu Vata, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Hari Bol.